Three items to talk about today. We have the 7Hz Eternal, we have the Tanchjim Ola, and also the new Sony Linkbuds. Now these I've tried already, while these two are going to be fresh first impressions. You guys all know the drill? M11 Plus, favorite dab. Let's crack into the one you guys clicked on this video for first, the 7Hz Eternal. Now, I gotta say, the box is dead drop gorgeous. Just my God, look at that. Now, I've seen many pictures of the Eternal online and they all look so pretty. Wow, that looks pretty nice. And the IEM sits inside. These are very pretty. They're like gems almost. They're very futuristic looking. Almost has like a steampunk aesthetic to it, but I really like how these look. To my knowledge, I think these are dynamic drivers, unlike the timeless that is planar, right? Now, how these sounds, hopefully they sound as good as the timeless, if not better. I mean, they're around the same price, so you would expect that, you know, the sound quality would be similar, you know, to live up to the expectation of the timeless, but we'll see. You guys probably can't see it from this far, but it's so good looking. The cable though, a little bit on the rubbery side, not the biggest fan of the cable. I like the color of the cable, it matches the IEM, but the feeling, very rubbery. Now the song of choice today is called Mean It by Love? No clue how to pronounce your name, man. I am so sorry. But yeah, this song, Mean It. It's a really good song, quite good bass, good pop song, good male vocals, just solid all around. In you go, 7Hz Eternal. High hopes for you, my guy. High hopes for you. Okay, I'll talk about what I like first. Number one, the bass, dynamic bass, really thumpy, very distinct. Quite like that. The technical performance, the details are also nice on this as well. I would say just based off of memory on par with the timeless, which is really nice. Maybe a touch below the timeless actually. Let's not go that far. The timeless is a touch above the Eternal just based off of my memory. Third thing is the separation between the bass and the mid-range is cleanly done. The vocals don't feel veiled in any way by the bass at all. While the bass is still powerful, they work hand in hand together really well. Nothing is overpowering each other. They're nicely balanced in that respect. Now, on to what I don't like. Number one is this basically has no treble. Like barely any treble at all. Now, for those of you who are extremely sensitive to treble, then this will be right up your alley. High recommendation if you just hate treble altogether, right? This basically has almost no treble at all, which makes the sound very leaning towards the low end, you know, you get this kind of sense of almost claustrophobia in a way, where it doesn't really have any sense of open air or openness to the sound. There's no sparkle, it's just kind of deep and dark-ish in a way. While the vocals does come across clean and well articulated, it's not well extended. Like it's just missing that bit of energy at the top to really make vocals shine, to really make instruments shine. So yeah, my verdict right now, I recommend it for some people. If you really are against treble of any kind, then the Eternal is, yeah, I mean, it's tuned well in the bass and the mid-range, so there's that. It's just that it doesn't have any treble. Yeah. Next, we have Tanchjim Ola. Tanchjim Ola. This is like 40 bucks, I think. Super cheap. Decent looking cables, decent looking IEMs as well. Let's try it out. I'm excited. I love cheap stuff, you know? I love it when I find good hidden gem to share with you guys that doesn't cost you guys an arm and a leg and sound really good. Let's see if the Ola lives up to the $50 competition it is going up against. Because let's face it, if you're buying an IEM at $40, you might as well just look at the $50. There's really no big difference to add $10 more for better sound quality. So these, even though they're $40 technically, they are competing directly against the $50 ones. So here we go. This is a very mid-centric IEM. It kind of reminds me really of the Tin T2. It doesn't sound the same for me, at least off of memory, but it reminds me of that kind of genre of IEM, if you will, where there's really not a lot of bass here, not a lot of sub bass, there's barely any sub bass at all. So the vocals and instrumentals, they shine through really well. There's quite a bit of energy in the upper mid-range here. Maybe just a touch honky, just a little bit. There's a little bit of an unnaturalness there, like the mid-range energy starts a little bit too soon, gives it that bit of a weird honky kind of feeling. Now, not too much though, not too much, just a little bit. But overall, $40 is really not bad. It's really not bad. Based off memory, it's really not bad. Detail-wise as well, I think is pretty all right for the price too. The treble area, this does have more treble than the Eternal, but it's still not the most sparkly listen. It's not the most energetic listen. There's a lot of energy in the upper mid-range, but when it comes to a treble area, it loses a bit of that. But yeah, it's for me right now, it's kind of an average $40 IEM. It's good, but like I said, when you compare it to like $50 IEMs, like for example, the Tinti 2, Tinti 2 Plus, the Melee, it's a tough competition. It really is a stacked price bracket. And does this get even close to performing with those guys? I would say it has potential, but that's about as far as I'm willing to give it right now. Of course, I have to test this again with many other types of songs, many other genres, just to make sure before I do a full review. Same with the Eternals as well. Again, this is just first impression, so take all of this with a grain of salt, a gigantic grain of salt, if you will. Just because I don't like it here doesn't mean I won't like it in the review. A lot of things can change, right? So in summary, just to wrap up our first impression, the Ola and the Eternals, these are really nicely priced IEMs. When we're talking technical performance levels of details, these two are nicely priced where they are at. The only problem I have with these two ultimately comes down to the tuning choices, which also boils down to preference, right? I like some treble, not too much treble, but I like some treble. So this is opposite of my taste, and this is all right for me. But for those of you who don't really like treble, you really just want to focus on the low end, then sure, these might be way more up your alley than they are for me. But yes, full review coming up for these IEMs in the future. Stay tuned for that. Now, let's get into the mainstream big boy now. Mr. Sony himself has released the Linkbuds. Yes, the first ever mainstream open back earbuds. Yeah, they don't go into your ears. There's this little, you know, for lack of a better word, donut shaped things. And yeah, it looks funky, looks strange. But I gotta tell you, I wore them pretty much all day, and they are one of the most comfortable item I've ever put on my ears. Like, I don't even feel them there. They're super light. I really like how they feel in my ears. I wore them the whole entire day, and when they ran out of battery, I charged them finally. But yeah, I really miss having them in my ears while they were charging, because I just like having music in my ears without having anything actually inside my ears, if you know what I mean. It's a weird feeling. It's nice not to have something inserted into your ears for once, and you still get sound. It's a good feeling. But yeah, back to the sound of these, which is, you know, why this audience is on this channel, is for sound quality more so than anything else. Sound quality on the Linkbuds out of the box, I can say with definitive 100% certain confidence, it sucks. Sucks out of the box. I mean, there's virtually no bass. There's very little treble, and the mid-range is very kind of flat and doesn't really have a lot of energy, doesn't really have a lot of contrast. So everything feels like they're on the same plane, you know what I mean? Frequency-wise, so everything just feels like they are at the same volume. There's no contrast, there's no highlights in any way. It's just muffled together. Out of the box, it just doesn't sound good. Now, however, you can easily EQ this to make them sound to your taste. This is my EQ setup, and after I place this EQ onto the Linkbuds, they actually sound salvageable, like a C+ or maybe even a B- tier in my ranking list type of sound. It actually sounds okay, like good. For something that will take for casual listen, I can tolerate that kind of sound quality. I actually enjoy it to some degree, but no, it's not top tier sound in any regards. It's just a quick fix. If you do own these buds yourself, try out my presets, the EQ here, I did it on my Samsung phone. You can easily do it on any phone that you have. Try it out as a bass and then adjust as you see fit. But that EQ generally just makes that IEM sound tremendously better than how it came out of the box. So now, sound quality aside, now that you guys know how to fix the Linkbuds, I would say overall my experience with it, I really like it. I just like how light it is, and it feels just like it's not there. It's one of those TWS that I can see myself using every day, like literally, like I want to use it again tomorrow. I want to take it with me to travel and all that stuff. Like I really want to use it. It's a really comfortable, great product. It's just that you need to fix the sound. The EQ you need to do because out of the box does not sound good. So try the EQ preset if you do own these and adjust after that as you will. But yeah, that will 100% make these sound just tremendously better. Huge improvement.
君が笑うだけで何でもできる気がする一緒に